Huge news has dropped now. We finally have confirmation now that Daniel Riccardo is joining back in Formula One. Now, while it's not a Red Bull seat, it is part of the Red Bull family, and I am so happy to have him back. I want to talk about Daniel Riccardo in general. Also, Nyck de Vries. I do feel a little bit bad for Nyck de Vries. I can't lie. Listen, the guy had a very, very tough time joining the sport. He struggled for many years trying to join the sport. He failed multiple different times. He's an F2 champion. He's a Formula E champion. He's a Formula 3 champion. It's not like the guy is a bad driver. If anything, he's a good driver that had a lot of bad luck. Now, clearly, he wasn't able to show his talents in the sport, but as the season has been going on, he's been getting closer and closer to Yuki. I guess not close enough considering Yuki actually got a couple points on the board. He's got none, but the car continuously keeps getting worse and worse. It's a very unfortunate situation if you ask me about Nyck de Vries. I think the guy actually does have talent. I think that if given the time, if he made the right choice and went to Williams, I think he would still be in the sport. But making the choice and going to Alphatauri was always going to be a pressure cooker. I mean, it is for anybody that's in the Formula One sport. We know the team of Red Bull as that team that likes to pinch and really get under your skin about performing while really in the car. And I can't lie, I like that approach. I'm the type of person to be like, hey, this is a sport. This is Formula One. You either perform or you don't, and that's why you're out of the sport. Now, Daniel Riccardo did not perform in McLaren, I gotta be honest. And it seems like the move they made for Oscar Piastri seems like the right one. But guess what? Sometimes the car just isn't in your favor. And that clear as day could be seen for Daniel Riccardo. He is a talent like no other. In my personal opinion, I think his talent and his range of driving, how good he is just as good as Max. Yes, maybe very controversial, but I genuinely believe you put Daniel Riccardo in that RB19, give him a couple of years, he could be competing with Max. Now, do I think he's better than Max? No. I do think that level of talent, though, is there. He was the guy that they put him in that RB14 or whatever it was at the time when Seb was driving the car in 2014. Seb was coming off of 4 world championships. 4. And Daniel Riccardo came in, took that away from him completely, and actually dominated that season in that Red Bull. And it wasn't even a superior car. Actually, that year Mercedes was killing everybody, and the Red Bull was only able to pick up wins because of Daniel Riccardo. He was just that impressive. He was just that good. The braking, the late braking, the beauty of the way that his driving style is. He has a type of oversteery style that Max Verstappen has. He's super aggressive. He loves a strong front end. That's everything you need. My only nervousness is you put him in the Alphatauri, where the braking is bad and the car is super unstable. So I want to see, this is a real test to Daniel Riccardo. Can he step in? Can he take it to Yuki Tsunoda? Because that is what they're testing, essentially. I think he has, from Hungary now to the end of the year, to really show who Daniel Riccardo is. And by that I mean he has to put Yuki to the test, perform a lot better than Yuki, and show what is really capable of this car and what he's capable of as a driver. I just recently even read a news article talking about, for Daniel Riccardo specifically, how he is so committed to the Red Bull team, he was not going to sign with anybody but the Alphatauri to get a chance with that Red Bull drive. I mean, I get it. He said even coming out of the year, he was like, if it's not a top team, I'm not driving for him. And I get that mentality. He drove for Red Bull. He drove for even Renault when they were actually pretty decent. McLaren when they were pretty decent. He got a win with McLaren. Almost got some wins with Renault. I mean, he got 2 podiums, but wasn't, I guess, close to wins. But still, it was still a very competitive car. I mean, you put him now in a Haas, you put him in a Williams, I guess now Alphatauri. It's obviously a big setback, but he sees, I guess, in the simulator, what Christian Horner and Helmut Marko were talking. They were like, hey, this guy is competitive in the simulator. He is putting up those numbers, and we're getting the old Daniel Riccardo back. They even say it wasn't even planned to bring him back. It was just kind of like, this guy has to stay in the sport. He's such a talent. That was words from Christian Horner himself, and I truly believe that is the truth. I don't think Christian Horner has any doubt in his mind that Daniel Riccardo is a once-in-a-lifetime driver. The guy was putting up numbers on Max Verstappen, and yes, he did join the sport, but he's also the kid that had a win in his first race in 2016. And Daniel Riccardo was putting up those numbers. Daniel Riccardo was a very competitive opponent for Max Verstappen. Both in the race, was able to overtake him. I would say quality pace was always for Max Verstappen, but in the race, Daniel Riccardo, if not, was arguably the better race car driver in their stint at Red Bull together. Does that mean now, if he was to hop into that seat, that he would be as competitive as Max? I don't think so. I mean, I'd have to really see. This is going to show for really the media, but also us as fans and people that really love Daniel Riccardo and people that don't, who he is, what he's made of. He was just out of the sport for a year. Nico Hülkenberg was just out of the sport for 3 years. Comes back, look what he's doing in the Haas. He's killing Kevin Magnussen, who also destroyed a rookie. So, I mean, it comes to show you levels upon levels on what the drivers are. I feel like the more experienced the driver is, the better they are currently in Formula One. I was just going to even speak about that. It seems like age is really just a number right now in our really beautiful sport that we have. The people that are more experienced are the ones that are actually winning. We have Lewis Hamilton at the top. We have Fernando Alonso at the top. I mean, these are drivers that have been in the sport for years. Daniel Ricciardo is one of those drivers that's been there for years and years and years. It's not like we're putting in some slouch. I agree with the decision. I think Liam Lawson should be next if Daniel Ricciardo does not perform very well in this half of the season. I think they're going to give Yuki a kind of ultimatum like, hey, let's see how competitive you are against Daniel Ricciardo. If you're not, I'm not getting that contract, buddy. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's their thought process behind it too. They have to see where does Yuki stand within the pecking order, because yes, he's killing Nyck de Vries, but we saw what Nyck de Vries was doing. We need him against a competitive driver, somebody like a Daniel Ricciardo who has really been in the sport as competitive as can be, beating a 4-time world champion, beating what now is the 2-time world champion, about to be 3. What does Yuki have on him? Can Yuki show that same level of performance? Now the pressure is going to be on Yuki, but the pressure will always be on Daniel Ricciardo. He just did the actual tire test. I even saw him spinning in the tire test, so I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. But I'm very happy to hear this. I'm so happy. I genuinely believe this guy deserves another chance in this sport. He is Daniel Ricciardo. He is that guy. Happy for him. This is what we needed for the season. Another banger driver. It just makes our grid look even just that much more packed of the best drivers on the planet. This is gonna be fun. Can't wait to see what he does in Hungary. I'm definitely gonna be following now a little bit more of the Alphatauri team because I like Daniel Ricciardo, and I'll be speaking more about really the HoneyBadger and what's happening in our sport. Hope you guys like this update. I know it's not heavily edited, but I wanted to just get this out to you guys and really speak my word. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.